Have you ever heard your own voice play back to you? To most people, it sounds wrong, a bit higher or lower than the one they hear inside their skull. But what I heard wasn't just a recording. 3 days had passed since I saw my 5th birthday party frozen in the grass. I had stopped eating. The food in the fridge began to smell like industrial plastic, and the water tasted like melted tin. The silver streak in my hair had widened into a broad, shimmering band. The lighthouse was dying with me, or perhaps I was dying with it. Mr. Sterling was silent. The intercom only hissed like a restless snake. I knew I had to reach the transmitter. If this was a lighthouse, it had to be broadcasting a signal somewhere. I pried open the control panel in the main hall using a kitchen knife. My fingers moved with a terrifying confidence, as if I had done this 1,000 times before. Perhaps the Elena from 2035 had already performed this surgery. I found the communication block and plugged my headphones directly into the intercom line. At first, there was only silence. Then, the distant rustle of the grass. And then, a voice. Elena. Can you hear me? You shouldn't have looked during the golden hour. The process is irreversible now. I froze. It was my voice. But it belonged to a woman who was at least 50 years old. She spoke with the heavy weariness of someone who had seen the end of the world and accepted it. Who are you? Where is Sterling? I screamed into the microphone. Sterling is just an algorithm, dear. STRLNG, Static Temporal Energy Recording Lighthouse. It's the name of a program. And I am what's left of you after they drain the first 20 years of your memories. Who are they? Where am I? You're not in a field, Elena. You are at the edge. The lighthouse stands at the point where time runs out. Our world exhausted its resources long ago. The sun no longer feeds the earth. The only fuel left is human memory. Emotion. Living history. Your lighthouse is a pump. It vacuums out your past and converts it into light for those left behind in the future. The grass is just a visualization of your neural pathways. When it touches the walls, it means a memory has been fully consumed. My knees gave out. I remembered the birthday party outside the window. The reason they were frozen, they weren't people. They were files. Digitized fragments of my life being pulled through the lighthouse's filters at that very moment. Why me? I asked, sobbing. Why didn't they take someone else? Oh, they've taken many, the voice from the future said bitterly. Remember the wardrobe. Every Elena is a new cycle. When one of us is completely hollowed out, they reboot the source. They take your DNA, your base temperament, and they create a fresh copy. You are version 12. And you are the first to break the comms line this early. I looked at my hands. The skin was becoming translucent. I could see the veins, the ghost of my bones beneath. The lighthouse wasn't just stealing my thoughts, it was erasing my physical presence in this era. How do I stop it? My voice cracked. You can't escape through the door, Elena. There is no door. It's a projection. The only way to destroy the lighthouse is to make the harvest unusable. You must destroy what they are stealing. How? Forget. You must let go of every memory you have left. You must become a void. The lighthouse cannot pump emptiness. If there is no data in the system, it will overheat and collapse. It was the most terrifying thing I had ever heard. To forget my mother. To forget my brother. To forget my first kiss, the smell of rain, the color of the sky. To become a nobody just to survive. If I forget everything, who will I be? I asked. You will be free, the elder Elena replied. But hurry. The golden hour is starting. And this time, it's the last one. I cut the intercom. I knew what I had to do. I sat in the center of the main hall. Outside, the sky began to turn into liquid fire. The grass outside the window had risen to the level of the second floor. It wasn't whispering anymore, it was screaming with the voices of 1,000 people. I closed my eyes. Remember Lucas, I commanded myself. I summoned the image of my brother. His laugh, his small hand in mine. I felt that memory as a warm ball of energy in my chest. And then, I mentally said, I let go. I imagined the image turning to ash. Suddenly, something inside me snapped. The pain was like having a rib pulled out without anesthesia. But I kept going. The first kiss, ash. The last evening with my parents, ash. My name. My home. My favorite song. The lighthouse began to vibrate. The walls, which seemed so solid, began to crack. Aura's voice began to distort, turning into an unbearable digital shriek. Error. Data missing. Core overheating. And in that moment, in the very epicenter of the destruction, I saw the true twist. As I nearly lost everything, as only one tiny spark remained in my mind, I saw one last file. It was deeply encrypted. I saw an operating room. The future. The year 2049. In a chair tangled with thousands of wires sat a woman. She was old, her face a map of wrinkles, but I recognized her. It was the Elena from the intercom. But she wasn't a victim. She was holding a tablet, watching me on the screen. Good, number 12, she whispered on the video. You are doing exactly what I planned. Forget everything. Become pure form. She wasn't trying to help me. She was the architect of this place. She created copies of herself to extend her own life. She was draining the youth and memories from us so her original, old version could live forever in an illusory paradise. She was Mr. Sterling. She was my god and my executioner. My hatred became the one last piece of energy she didn't expect. I didn't forget the last memory. I channeled all my rage into the connection between us. If I am you, I screamed into the void, then your past is my weapon. I didn't just forget my life. I flipped the system. I began pumping the emptiness back into the link. The lighthouse exploded with light. Not golden, but a blinding, surgical white. The universe shrank to the size of a single point. I woke up to the sound of a heart monitor. Beep. Beep. The light was too bright. The ceiling was white, but it wasn't the polished concrete of the lighthouse, it was cheap, peeling paint. Elena. Can you hear me? A nurse leaned over me. I tried to speak, but my throat felt like it was clogged with sand. Where am I? St. Jude's Municipal Hospital. You were found on the side of the highway. You were in a state of profound shock. I looked at my hands. They were wrinkled. The skin was thin and covered in age spots. I touched my hair, it was completely white. How old am I? I whispered. You're 46, dear. You've been missing for 23 years. The doctors told me I had a rare form of amnesia. I remembered nothing since 2023. My life was a blank page 20 years long. To the world, I had simply vanished and then reappeared, having aged a lifetime overnight. Later, when I was alone, I reached into the pocket of the hospital gown I was found in. There was a small object. A dry, golden stalk of grass. It looked as if it had just been cut, even though it was winter in the city. And there was a note. Written in my own handwriting, but very shaky, like that of an old person, don't look back. The grass is still growing. It's just waiting for number 13. I walked to the hospital window. It was snowing outside. But for a second, just one brief second, I thought I saw a golden rustle beneath the snow. I closed the curtains. I never look out the windows during sunset anymore. Because somewhere out there, at the edge of time, Elena is still watching. And she always needs more.